What if, ladies and gentlemen, vampires are real? And what if they're not all bad? That's right. What if vampires are real? And what if vampires are not all bad? I'm serious about this. I really am. And it's something that came to me earlier today. And wow, I think it's pretty profound. And I think it's pretty interesting. We got a lot of notes on it. So we're going to do some talking about it here. What if vampires are real? And what if they're not all bad? I want to read something to you before we begin, and it's called The Principle of Polarity. And it's part of the Hermetic principles that I've been going over with you, and I'll get more into today. But it's a specific part of it that I want to bring to your attention. I'm sorry if I'm getting too hot by getting up close to the mic, but I want to read this to you because I think it's very powerful. And it sets the parameters, it sets the context for what I want to talk to you about today. And the principle of polarity, the principle of polarity states this, and I'm going to talk later today about the principle of vibration. But the principle of polarity says that, according to the Kybalion, that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same, opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet, all truths are but half truths. That's powerful. And all paradoxes may be reconciled. Everything is dual, everything has two poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Very, very powerful stuff. Opposites may be reconciled, extremes meet. Think of what I'm talking about in relation to the principle of polarity, and it may help you understand what I'm talking about. In the principle of polarity, there are opposites. There's two poles. We've just read there's duality in everything, meaning there's balanced and unbalanced. There's orderly and chaotic involved in everything. And I think that if we are honest and if we are objective, and if we stop sneezing, excuse me, if we're honest and we're objective, and we look back through the records of history and the records of lore and the records of oral tradition, I think that there's enough evidence, there's enough thought, there's enough belief, enough faith for me to conclude that, and for me to say that there's validation for a race of bloodthirsty entities that want to consume humans and often want to consume the most innocent amongst us. I think with all the vampire lore and all the vampire stories and all the vampire, just the wealth, the sheer volume of vampiric knowledge, speculation, literature, I think there's something really there. Now, do I believe that Dracula's real? Do I believe that the Twilight vampires are real? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there is some type of a race of bloodthirsty entities that do seek to suck our blood, consume our blood, take our blood, and that they often seek to consume and take and possess the blood of the most innocent amongst us. And if we're thinking about vampires as potentially being real, if we're thinking about the blood sucking, human consuming vampire mythos being true and real, and think about it a minute. What if it's metaphorical? Think about this. Let's say you're in the Middle Ages and you have a daughter, and the laird or the lord of the land can come and take your daughter from you and do whatever he wants to with her at certain times. How would that leave your daughter looking, feeling, acting? What if the Lord was able to come and take your wife and do whatever he wants in any place, anytime? How would that leave your wife acting, looking? What if they were able to come and take your food and take your spoils, take your money, take your the things that you have for sustenance? How would that leave you looking and acting and feeling? What if the vampire mythos is a cover for the bloodsuckers of this world that constantly prey on those less fortunate? What if? And what if you are one of these people that are preying on people? What if the vampire is a very convenient mythology for you to create to shrug the guilt from yourselves onto some mythical creature? What if? Or what if vampires are real and there really are blood-sucking vampires out there? What would be the polarity of the blood-sucking vampire? What would be the opposite of the blood-sucking vampire? What would be the energetic balance of the blood-sucking vampire? If there are blood-sucking entities, could there not be entities that instead of consuming blood, consume energy? And ladies and gentlemen, let's just talk about that. Is it possible that there's entities out there on the polarity scale that don't suck blood, but they suck energy, life force? Is that possible? I think you might have to say yes, Jeffrey, that's possible. So if there's entities that suck blood, then quite possibly there's entities that suck life force. And I think we've all encountered some of them. But ponder this, if you will. If there are entities that suck blood and there are entities that consume life force, what if the polarity of the entity that consumes the innocent is a being that consumes the life force of the guilty? If there's a being that consumes the blood of the innocent, is there a being that consumes the blood, the life force of the guilty? If there is a entity that consumes the blood, metaphorically or actually, of the oppressed, might there be an entity that would suck, eat, consume the life force of the oppressors? If there's an entity that sucks the blood of the peasants, is there an entity that longs to consume the energy of the lords and the lairds and the oppressors and those that seek to do harm to other people by virtue of their own power, position, authority, and money? Is it possible? Is it possible that there's some Dexter-like entities out there that, in response to the horrific blood-sucking actions of the wealthy and the powerful, or of entities that do that, that they respond by sucking the energy and the power out of these entities? Is it possible? Is it possible? Think about this. What if these entities that are sucking the energy out of the oppressors, what if they are not only making us aware of the true vampires? And think about what's going on today. Think about what's going on with what Jay and I are talking about on The Last Stand. Think about what's going on in the world of disclosure about, I keep hitting that, sorry, about the things that are taking place in this country. What if there's a group that is not only telling us about these things, not only making us aware of these things, but they are subtly guiding us, nudging us towards the truth of how to fight back. And the truth of how to win. What if making us aware of the blood sucking, flesh eating, human sacrificing of our most innocents and the consumption of them? What if making us aware that's just job one? And what if there's a race of beings that have perfected and cobbled together in the ability to attack the attackers, and they're willing to teach us and instruct us on how to fight back? What if? And this just came to me. Think about your Hollywood celebrities, but think mainly about your politicians, your people that are in control, people that are running the governments, and people that have the true authority over us. Why do they have so many bodyguards? Are that many bodyguards really necessary for the physical protection of a president, a king, a prime minister? Or is it possible that some of that protection is there? Some of those people are there for psychic protection. What if those in power that are the oppressors and are the attackers and are the bloodthirsty, blood suckers, flesh consumers, torturers, or just the suckers of our sustenance, what if they know that there's somebody that knows and that there's somebody that's trying to show us what we can do and how we can do it to combat them? Is that one of the reasons why they have so many protectors? Because some of those people are psychic protectors? What if? I'm also struck by the proliferation of and the fascination with electronic energetic warfare. Electronic energetic warfare. You know, voice to skull technology. I don't know the names of all these things that Rex talks about, but it seems like the weapons of their warfare are carnal. They're trying to create all manners of energy weapons. They're trying to create all manners of thought weapons. They're trying to create all manners of subtle weapons. Is that because they know that the true powers of subtle energy, the true powers of spiritual energy, the true powers of energetic energy belong to us that are divine, sovereign, and free? And do they perhaps know that we're starting to figure it out and we're about to unleash this on them, and they're desperately, valiantly trying to come up with a substitute, something to fight back with? They're trying to come up with something they know is not as good, they know is not true, but they're trying to come up with something to fight me and to fight you. Is that possible? And are there a group of beings that wish to lead us, teach us, guide us, instruct us, and perhaps stand right alongside us in offensive, aggressive transmutation and energetic warfare, for lack of a better word? And are some of us being called towards this end? Is transmutation an avocation? Is transmutation a calling? Offensive, aggressive transmutation, taking dark, wicked, evil power and transmuting it into just plain old power, because dark, evil energy is still energy. And energy, at the end of the day, is neither evil nor dark. It's either balanced or unbalanced. It's either orderly or chaotic. What if, ladies and gentlemen? What if? And what if all of this effort towards demonizing, very literally, the vampire is even partially for preventing in us the idea that we would ever be able to be in league with such a creature, and that such a creature might actually have abilities that can help us, and that such a creature itself may not like to be seeing what's happening to us because they know that they're next. It's like, I never remember if it was Martin Niemöller or Dietrich Bonhoeffer, but one of them said in Nazi Germany, and whatever you think about Nazi Germany, just think about the quote, when they came for the homosexuals, I wasn't homosexual, so I didn't really say anything. When they came for the gypsies, I wasn't a gypsy, so I didn't really say anything. When they came for the Jehovah's Witnesses, I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, so I didn't really say anything. When they came for the Jews, I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't say anything. And then when they came for me, there was nobody left to say anything. Think about that. Think about who you are. Think about what you are. Think about what they are and who they are. And think about who they might be and what they might be. And maybe there's enough of us homosexuals, gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jews, metaphorically, follow me, don't write me stupidity, to gather together and be a force strong enough to be taken quite seriously. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I've totally lost my mind. But maybe, just maybe, vampires are real. And maybe, just maybe, they're not all bad and gulp. Maybe, just maybe, there might be some out there that want to help us because they don't want to be oppressed any more than we want to be oppressed. The enemy of your enemy is your friend, ladies and gentlemen. Think on that. We're the last generation of real humans. Can we afford to be without any tools that are ours? Can we afford to turn a blind eye or turn away any allies that seek the same ends that we do? Something to think about. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's be humble. Let's be kind. Let's be thinking. And let's get busy.